Welcome to Anime Nerd University. I'm your professor, Professor G. I know the show used to be called Code Eric Kazuku, but let's cut all that out. This is Anime Nerd University, and I'm your professor, Professor G. If you are already subscribed, congratulations. You are enrolled. If you're not subscribed, then what are you doing? You gotta enroll. Now, I want to talk about the top 4 shonen anime arcs. I know a lot of people do like top 10 or top 5 shonen anime shows, but I wanted to do something a little different, shonen arcs. So let's get straight into the video. When you look at a shonen arc, I like to analyze the arc to see what makes it a really good arc. The first thing I like to look at is what makes the arc stand out from the rest of the arcs, or for short, its niche. Is it the character development, the emotional attachment the author is trying to connect with the viewer? For example, Jiraiya's death affecting Naruto, hearing Robin scream she wants to live to Luffy, or Gon's despondent face after he took Pito's life. And the last thing I look at is how well the arc not only stand out, but blend in with the overall story, even with the smallest detail that build up to a major key point in the next arc. For example, when Vegeta realized Gohan was the strongest in the Cell game arc, this made Vegeta pride at an all-time low, to not only Goku being stronger than him, but his son being stronger than him as well, plus Goku sacrificing his life to save Vegeta. This made Vegeta even more resentful towards Goku. That build up to the next arc, where you see Vegeta eager to fight Goku in the World Tournament, to not only prove to himself that he's the strongest, but to prove to Goku that he is the strongest. To the point when Vegeta allowed Babidi to possess him for a power boost to fight Goku. And this is when we saw the iconic evil smirk from Vegeta, which brings me to the number 4 on the list, Cell Game and Android arc. Toriyama's Cell Game arc is one of his best works for a copious amount of reasons. The first is when Vegeta first turned Super Saiyan for the first time. From the music background and piano fading in and Vegeta saying, "Have a machine like yourself ever experienced fear?" sent goosebumps and chills down my back. We get to see Vegeta in his peak for the first time, as well as sheer will and determination from Vegeta, which affected my mindset as a kid watching this. Seeing Vegeta being the hero for a second definitely was a breath of fresh air for Dragon Ball Z fans. Not to mention every speech Vegeta said in this arc was legendary. This is when a lot of people who love Vegeta now became a fan of Vegeta. Another key point was the build up to Cell and how all the villains prior to Cell blended beautifully with his build up. From Android 17 and 18, Dr. Gero, Android 19, and even Android 16, not only did the villains play a pivotal part in the story, but the story pacing was peak for the build up for Cell. Last point I want to say is Gohan turning Super Saiyan 2. Even me, being a Vegeta fan, Gohan turning Super Saiyan 2 was my favorite part of this whole arc. This is when being a Super Saiyan meant something. For example, Trunks and Vegeta going through pain in the hyperbolic time chamber was visibly portrayed by Tobirama to get a clear idea of how hard it was to even ascend beyond a Super Saiyan form. So seeing Gohan going Super Saiyan 2 was an iconic moment in anime history. We saw Gohan destroy the Cell Juniors with ease, which, remember, deflected a final flash like it was nothing. Even after Cell powered up twice, Gohan was still beating up Cell. And for the first time, we saw Cell regret his decisions and experience true fear. Seeing Gohan develop from a wimpy kid that cries all the time to this badass was just amazing to me at the time. At number 3, I have the Chimera Ant arc from Hunter x Hunter. This arc, in my opinion, is one of the best arcs in anime history for many reasons. From its erratic plot twist throughout the arc, but well-orchestrated storyline, major character development from Gon, and well-painted picture Togashi portrayed throughout the story, which was a power struggle from the Hunter Association versus the Chimera Ants, and the character development from Muram. But first, we're going to talk about Gon. When Gon was about to fight Pito, he sacrificed his future to defeat Pito, because she's the one that caused Gon, a naive, jubilant kid, to lose hope. To understand his power-up, he understood that more than likely he won't ever meet his dad again, and also sacrificing possibly his nin ability just to defeat her. But what makes this fight so emotionally powerful was when Killua, his best friend who was saved by Gun from the same dark perspective of the world, was in the same state where he used to be. For me personally, seeing Killua helpless and concerned because he can't help a friend really made me feel terrible, because we all had a very good friend that was probably very despondent or depressed about a situation, and it felt like it wasn't anything we can do. Now, Miram character development as an antagonist was perfect to me. When he was first introduced, he was a sinister person who really did believe anybody weaker than him was beneath him, until he met a girl that changed his perspective on human life named Kamugi. Kamugi is a girl that's very talented in playing a board game called Gunki, which piqued Miram's interest to play against her repeatedly until he beat her. This caused Miram to develop feelings for her, up to the point that is visibly seen that he have a changed perception when battling Nitaro. It just amazes me that a character like Miram, who was easily hated in the beginning of the arc, is now a likable character at the end of the arc. So with an amazing story, great fighting scenes, and an amazing character development, it's no question that this arc is one of the best arcs in anime history. At number 2, I have the Enies Lobby. It was hard for me to put this at number 2, and honestly, this could have been number 1 for many reasons why. The 2 main reasons is first, Luffy character development as a leader. Before this arc, Luffy was just a captain, but the name had no substance. He just fought the strongest person, but in this arc, he faced crucial decisions and he actually leads the crew. He also realized as the captain, he fights the strongest enemy not because he just wants to, but because that's his responsibility as a captain. We see Luffy mature very fast in this arc, which is a crucial moment in this arc. The second main reason was the critical emotional moments in this arc. Oda in an interview said it would be impossible for me to draw a more touching story than this arc, and I think he's right. For the first 300 chapters, we see the crew being easygoing and somewhat nonchalant, so the shift from a carefree to a serious dispute within the crew intensify the emotional moments for this arc. But the most major moment in this arc was Robin saying she wants to live. To understand how deep this moment was, with Robin, in my opinion, the most traumatic childhood, we see Robin's backstory as a very depressed childhood, and when she was robbed by her innocence as a young child by the government. So for Robin, a reserved character, saying she wants to live to Luffy and the crew struck a chord in everyone's heart who saw this or read this, which was a defining moment not just for this arc, but for One Piece itself. At number 1, I have the Pain and Soul arc from Naruto. In my opinion, is number 1 for 2 main reasons. First is Jiraiya's death. I thought Ace's death in One Piece was the saddest in anime history until I saw Jiraiya's death. For one, Jiraiya was the most lovable character in Naruto, and a father figure for Naruto. If you're watching this video right now, I want you to remember your favorite teacher, a teacher that was kind-hearted, caring, funny, and helped you become a better version of yourself. Well, that was Jiraiya. In my opinion, everyone saw Jiraiya as an impactful mentor in Naruto's life. So to see Jiraiya die, especially from one of his students, impacted everyone watching Naruto, and to see how bad it affected Naruto hurt me as a viewer as well. And for the last reason, it's obviously Pain. Pain is one of the best villains in anime history in my opinion. Pain, which is really Nagito, had a rough childhood with his friends due to the conflicts between villages which caused the war. So when Nagito met Jiraiya, Nagito had hoped that the cycle of hatred will end, but when Yahiko took his own life through the war, he had a different perspective of life, which was achieving peace through friendship was a naive idea, which the villain Pain was born. When I was introduced to Pain, that was the first villain I didn't see as evil. I just see him as a lost child who had a different perspective of peace. And at last, what made Pain such a good villain was the quotes throughout the arc, but the one that stood out the most was, "Love is the reason why there is pain. When we lose someone precious to us, hate is born. Vengeance is the product of hate, and so death follows. But in death, there is only more death. This will give rise to more pain. In this cursed world we live in, it is a cycle of hatred that will not cease. You and I seek the same thing Jiraiya Sensei wanted. Let me ask you this, how will you confront this hatred in order to create peace?" Man, when I first heard this, I thought I was listening to Jermaine Cole.
J. Cole.
Yeah.
Jermaine.
Yeah.
Cole.
Yeah.
I remember watching and thinking, in the real world, where the color of your skin, gender equality, or whatever the situation is, creates a cycle of hatred. So if you're looking at this video right now, I want to ask you what I think Kishimoto was trying to ask. How can a cycle of hatred really end?